Welcome back to LSI, welcome back to F1 25, welcome back to League Racing. Wow, I can't wait. Round 1 in Austria, and it's raining in qualifying. It is Charlie on pole position as they've just beaten Sir Maxon, who was standing there for a while for the first few minutes of the session, the champion of the F1 tier of the world of LSI. Now down to P2 in the Haas car. They're all in their permanent seats, set from the reserve drivers of Ethan Davies, aka Dave Raptors, and Jack Lever, who returns once again. They'll be racing permanently in the Saturday tier for Ferrari, both of them, but today they're reserving in those Mercedes seats. Other than that, everybody else permanent, and we see Nifoyan back in the racing ball car. Good to see that for sure. They had a very nice stint at Mercedes, of course, with lots of success, but they've had a lot of success with this team as well, and we do get to see them back in the colours of, well, it's actually a different one, but it's got white. It's got a little bit of a Red Bull logo on it, a bit more so than it had before as well. Very, very nice indeed. Charlie's on top at the moment. Sir Maxon and Heichler are on their way out to try and compete with that once again. Nifoyan goes across the line on the intermediate tyres. A few drivers trying to be on the wet tyres. I don't think it's the tyre really to go with. As you can see, there's an invalidation from Jack as they go across the line. What was their time going to be? A 19.6. So quite a bit off. Terence also struggling on entry, so they're probably going to have to come into the pit lane and put on some intermediate tyres as they'll go and see what the leaderboard's looking like, with the top times being set by Charlie and now Igapro, who just goes to P3. The last race winner around this circuit in the F1 tier, this very corner, was very famous as they dove down the inside and Zingy Samaxon went off on the exit. What a race that was, of course, and Igor does go very well around here. Whether they've got the good result or not is a different story, but the pace has always been incredibly strong. Now we're in a brand new game, and we haven't got much experience in it. It's the summer season. We're a few weeks into the game now. Well, actually, we're about just under a month into this game. So some drivers have got experience in races, some drivers don't. And that's going to be a crucial part. Charlie goes and improves further. Terence actually to P2. So maybe the wet tyre is still working quite nicely. Terence has it nailed down. Charlie 15.2, so still a long way ahead. There is a lot of time to be gained from everyone, as it's your championship leader who bottles it at the final corner. Unfortunately, a 15.486 would have put them comfortably into P2 and competing nicely with their countrymen, but it's not going to be the case. And we're yet to see Jorico Willis set a timed lap, the F1.5 champion, who now goes up to P5 as they are actually racing on their old Logitech wheel. They previously upgraded for the middle of the season to a direct drive wheel and then went on to win it. Now they're on the laptop with that Logitech wheel, so they've got a bit of a downgrade in equipment for this race and probably the next race as well in Monza. But they're still here, they're still setting laps, they're still trying to contend for points. It's Terence and Igor who are running third and fourth, with Igor in the pit lane. Terence still staying out on this wet tyre, and Heichler has just taken that P2 spot of 15.582. Still a little way from Charlie, but in the rain, when the gains can be massive lap by lap, they are definitely making some good progress. First time back racing for LSI, first time commentating on a race or qualifying scenario, a race event effectively. Of course, we've done some watch-alongs. We will go back to the watch-alongs tomorrow for the sessions. We missed out on today's running, unfortunately, but that will be definitely good. And it's actually accidentally synced with the real GP weekend in Austria as well. Didn't mean to do that, but it does work out quite nicely, doesn't it? Charlie still holds that top spot in the pit lane right now. Terrence goes across the line again, setting a faster lap time once more and defending their position over Eager Pro, their teammate, who is about to start another lap. So Max on out on track as well as Ethan Davies and Nifo Yan. And there is, previously known as Dave Raptors, up to P3. 15.693 on the wet tyres. The first wet tyre runner into the 15-second lap times and the third driver to do so overall. The wet tyres are definitely still quite possible to work out nicely. That is Sir Maxon finding the pace in the later minutes of the session. 6 to go. Still a long way in this session. But the Haas driver is enjoying this one quite nicely. Struggling with the start of the game, saying that they're not happy with the pace. They're definitely completely proving their point wrong and going quite quickly. There's still more time to get the cars bled into the session and the pace up even more, especially as the track evolves. We don't know how it is going to be in the race. That's going to be different for the weather. It could be the same, but it's probably going to be different. And we don't actually know if this session is going to end with wet conditions or not as well. That could be an interesting point to make. We can see some vessels going fairly quickly, but they are running high on the battery, so evidently going into the pit lane. 5 minutes on the clock. That's Igor, purple in the final sector, up to P2. A 14.8, the second driver to do so. Still a fair way behind Sir Maxon, but definitely making some good progress. There are the gaps with the most recent lap times set by Sir Maxon and Eager Pro. Charlie's within 1 second, despite setting their lap time a little bit earlier on, but they are ready to go again. And they are looking to try and take that back as they come into the final sector. 2 tenths up on their lap time, but they've got a lot of high-speed corners here into the final sector of the circuit. The final corners upon them. No DRS available across the line for Charlie. Clean in track limits, and it's going to be provisional pole. Brilliant stuff. A 14.286 ahead of Sir Maxon. That really did make the difference there in those final few corners. Almost 3 tenths up before that, but gaining the rest of that 9-tenth gap that they had before and a bit more. So absolutely brilliant. We see only one, or actually 2 more drivers now as Jack's putting on that wet tyre. It's Ethan Davies still hoping that this wet tyre is going to be able to take them a bit further. They're definitely competitive right now. Is it still the right call though? That's the question. And we don't quite know. But according to what everybody else is running, it looks like that Inter is the way to go. And you can see as they're lazy into the entry of the corner, not finding any grip. It could be, but the Inters definitely are the better tyre. Don't know how much they're pushing. They are not pushing, so got to take that with a little bit of a pinch, of course. That's a purple middle sector for Igor as they're improving relative to the cars around them. 14.8 at the moment. Only needs a small margin to catch up to Dave Raptor's time. And a big margin if they want to go further. But they go over track limits just by the tiniest little bit. They back off. We won't get to see what their lap time would have been. But looking at what they did complete with that mistake, that would have been an absolutely insane lap time. Heischler takes it away for all of us instead. And goes to the top of the times. McLaren on top at the moment. Is it going to stay that way? And if it's not, how long for is it going to stay this way? Is it going to stay into the race? We don't know. 2 minutes on the clock. still a little bit more time in the session. Terence, who set some pretty quick lap times earlier on that wet tyre, since hasn't been able to find the confidence on that intermediate. They are on the fresh intermediates. They're going for their first proper lap on this tyre, and we'll see what they can do. Can they get themselves further up into the order to start this race? The final corner is upon them. Cut it as much as you dare without over track limits. DRS not available. It's P6, just behind their teammate, a couple of tenths behind if so, and we'll see what they can do. Charlie and Samaxon making their way out on track for the final time, as Heischler is saving up, ready to go for one final lap themselves. And here we are with the current pole sitter on slightly older tyres, warm tyres at that, a full battery regardless in the first corner in their sights. Cutting it nicely, stable on the exit. Is it fast? We'll find out as we get towards turn 3, as you go over the sector line before you get into the next corner. And it is definitely a decent improvement. Turn 3 up and over the crest as well. On the traction, up the gears nice and quickly to get that throttle pedal down to the floor, down to turn 4. And really sending it into the apex, pointing it at the apex as you brake, and then getting it rotated on the curb. And then into the double left-hander as you try and slow the car down with the mechanical grip and the gears as much as you can. Use a bit of brakes in the wet conditions to get that front rotated inwards. Purple still for Heischler, a little bit slippy on the rear end at 8. The final 2 corners now upon them, where you can gain so much time as the track evolves, just going wide of the curb to have that confidence. Cutting the final one though, and across the line for the McLaren driver is going to be a 13.1, 6.5 tenths improvement. Nevo to P2. Charlie and Samaxon. Samaxon goes provisional pole and beats him. Absolutely incredible. What can Charlie do here? And the final couple of corners to finish off qualifying here in Spielberg. Across the line, swooping through the final one. Across it. What's it going to be? Oh, he's done it. He's done it. The only driver to do a 12.937. Absolutely incredible. Who's going across next? I don't quite know. It's not Dave Raptors. It's Jack Lever, who's currently P9. They're finishing their session with a decent improvement, it looks like, but it won't be position-wise. They'll stay there at the bottom of the time with the wet tyres. There is Terence, followed by Nifo, who finishes their session. Terence up to P5 ahead of their teammate. It's Dave Raptors who is improving here, but it's Jericho Willis just ahead. They're going into the pit lane. What's it going to be for the former F1.5 champion, who crosses it for the final time here in qualifying to P4 for Dave Raptors? Absolutely brilliant. A brilliant way, the second row of the grid, to start their LSI return here in the summer season at least. It's Charlie, though, who takes pole position. Heischler looked like they had it. Samaxon pipped them, and then, furthermore, Charlie manages to assert dominance in the Williams. Lovely stuff there. A new team, and, well, not really a new way of doing things. They were pretty successful in the beginning of the season LSI. They did miss the first race, but after that they took victory immediately. What can they do today? Charlie on pole position at Samaxon and P2. It is a pole position, the lockout, and it's Heischler in P3. That's the rest of the grid. This is the race director, and we'll be back in a bit for the race start. Do not go anywhere. A new game, a new beginning. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Charlie off the line incredibly well. And it's Maxon who slots in into P2. Heichler holds on. It's Dave Raptors who almost had a look, but they didn't get there in the end. Jericho Willis drops down as Jack Lever makes the move ahead. It's Nefoyan who's trying to make progress off the start, and they go up on the inside of a former rival. These guys have had history. Is it going to be enough? I don't quite know. On the outside line, the traction was down, and it's a pretty good kick that the Brit has got, but no, the inside line is going to be superior, and Nefoyan will be ahead. The switchback is available for Davies, but they won't get there. They'll stay where they are. A brilliant start, as always, from Nifo, and they've managed to make it work in the late stages of qualifying, and now in the early stages of the race, they're raring, they're here, they're P4, and they can see the leader just up in front of them. As we're about to start lap 2 already, Charlie still holds on to that P1. It's Sir Max on P2. Heichler, Nifo, Davies, Terence, Egapro, and it's Jack Lever with Jericho Willis at the back, struggling maybe with the equipment that they're not quite familiar with, but they do have company, that's for sure. Sir Max on the champion, getting DRS now for the first time out of anyone. Will they go for the move to the inside line? It looks like they are. Not pushing so much, as they will hold on for now. It's really interesting how these guys will be playing it out, of course, because, well, you don't really know in the early stages of the game. It is going to be a move already attempted here for Sir Maxon on the inside line. Charlie wasn't willing to give it up so easily, as we're going to have a look at the tyre situation at this stage of the race. Previously, F124 and maybe some other games as well, you're sat in a train and you just try and hold on to the train and then go for moves towards the end. These days in F125 it's a little bit more complicated. Dirtier, absolutely brutal, and you really have to make that decision. Do you think you can hold out in front because you now have an ability to do so, or is the car behind a little bit too powerful and you need to try and do something with DRS? It is really difficult, but there's so many ways to explore, and that is what is great about this game. We've got a medium tyre, pretty much domination, but we've got a few hards here to take us around, and currently the hard tyre is leading this race. A defensive throw here for Charlie on the inside line. It actually just opens the door for Heichler, who now has a clear run into the next corner. We watch on board with Nipayan as it is a drag race up in front, turning off the battery nose. Charlie, as Heichler's going to have a go for the race lead, and oh, there's a bit of contact involved, but he gets there eventually. A brilliant job there from Heichler, as close as it's going to get, trying to defend it there for Sir Maxon, but no, they will drop out. I don't think they were expecting it. They could see the cars behind that were going side by side, thinking that they'll fight each other, but instead it just completely went pear-shaped. And now Nifo realizes that Charlie doesn't really seem to be that urgent with the pace at the moment. Getting pole position, but dropping down the order now. Having a great start, by the way. That was absolutely awesome. But now Nifo knows. He can see this car dropping back. He's got to try and do something if he wants to make some progress in this race. You can see the gap 5/10 relative to the 3/10, and when you need so much confidence, so much aggression in overtaking in this game, although Sir Maxon has just made that look completely different, you need to try and make sure that you're not letting gaps break away from you. That being said, Charlie has managed to hold on nicely, so maybe Nifo doesn't have quite such an easy option of making moves. They do have a lot of pressure, though, from the hard tyre runner that is going to be making some progress at some point soon. It's Jericho Willis, who's still fairly close relative, or about the same distance behind the cars ahead relative to where they were before, but they've got a few cars behind them now, as Egapro and Terence have dropped back, and it's Jack Lever who is also in this battle. So a few cars still within DRS of each other, but just a little bit further behind from what is effectively a top 5 train. A 2-train split now, as Egapro is almost dropping away from Jericho Willis, who's on that hard tyre and pushing nicely, pushing a bit too much as Terence with that track limit penalty that they've just received there. They're still within the DRS of their teammate, but that squirmy exit might be enough here for Jack Lever. No, not enough battery there. for the Brits, so they'll have to stay behind for now. So Maxon continues to lead the Grand Prix, and Heischler doesn't look like they're in a position to attack at this stage. No urgency as they bleed into the race. They relax into the race. Lap 5 out of 36. This is a race event that you get a lot of laps to try and get something done. It's also a short circuit, so you do have to try and make sure that you use your attacks kind of wisely. You don't want to try and let people predict what you're doing. You want to try and make sure you catch people off guard, on surprise. Otherwise, it's just a really difficult circuit to drive. You've got to try and hide things up your sleeve and then go for stuff a little bit later on. Jericho Willis, will they be able to make some progress? Well, the car ahead might start fighting. We'll see. That hard tyre, well, we've got two hard tyres close to each other. Well, I say that in the order, but they're not really that close to each other on the track. Davies is going to have to make some progress at some point in a few laps' time, as we do know. Tyres can be crucial around here, but we've just had Jericho Willis be overtaken by Igapro, who had that DRS, and these guys are going to be working as a bit of a DRS duo right now, and they've also actually broke away from Terence and Jacques Lever because of their DRS training themselves. But you can see how much they've just lost by not having the DRS. 2.8 seconds it's gone to now. That's absolutely incredible. Almost a second it seems to be that they've lost from that. Charlie almost out of DRS range, and this could be a chance here for Nifo to do something. Charlie finds the ERS button and does use it wisely. Is it enough, though? That's the question. Oh, no. Nifo's lost the front end. And they've lost every bit of advantage they had there. They do have ERS to use, and they have a massive amount of it. But is it enough to bring them back into it? We're on board with Dave Raptors. DRS, is it available for Nifo? It is just about. But now, actually, they've used a lot of their battery, and it could be all over. I thought they would have had an opportunity, and I think they probably thought they would as well. And maybe just letting that take too much of their focus and dropping out. They almost had DRS range there, but they've just lost it again. They might be able to get it here in the middle sector. They've got to dig deep to do so, though. They do have that medium tyre, which still should be faster at this stage. And you can see Igapro once again remakes that move ahead of Jericho Willis. The reason why Sir Maxon is staying out ahead on that hard tyre, though, is because, well, I don't think Heischler's in any rush at this stage. But also, Sir Maxon is a champion. So he's really doing a very good job at holding on. And the reigning champion at that. We've got more champions in the grid, though, of course. Dave Raptors, Ethan Davies, the F1.5 champion, Nifo F1 champion, Igapro F1 champion, Jericho Willis, the reigning F1.5 champion. Lots of champions here today in this grid. A bit of a split in the grid now as well, I should say. 1.5 seconds splitting Charlie and Heischler, so it really has changed up a little bit here. And now with Davies on the back of the Williams with the hard tyres, they're going to think it's their time to shine, and they are going to go for the outside line. How's it going to go here? They don't really seem to want to let them go that easy, but it looks like it's just going to be made easy anyway by this hard tyre. It's a little bit pushy and shovey, though, and they will have to back off. A good effort there for Dave Raptors, but it's not going to be so simple. They don't seem to be happy with it. The body language of that car, a few shakes here and there. The wheel bangs weren't exactly ideal. You can see they're moving left and right. Really not happy with what's gone on. So Maxon gets the time penalty. That's 3 drivers now with a time penalty. Easy to do around this circuit, but really advantageous if you don't get it done. So that's why the drivers are trying to stay away from it. Lap 9 and another penalty, a second penalty for Jacques Lever. There is DRS once again for Dave Raptors. Heischler not in a position to overtake ahead, so this is the battle that we could see, but no battery to be used and actually to be saved there for Charlie. DRS available, ERS available, and they are possibly going to have another go here as they do start to deploy the battery a little bit. Once again, it's deployed, though, from Charlie, who goes defensive on the inside line. squeezing on the outside. It is going to be for Dave Raptors, and this time they hold their ground a little bit. The inside available for Charlie, and they get the advantage. There's nothing you can do. That corner, it is still a corner. It doesn't really look like it, but it's still registered as a corner, and it does give you an advantage if you're holding the inside line in a drag race. A good old battle we've got going on here, but a little bit of a confusing one because it's only losing Charlie time at this stage. They do want to try and make sure that Davies doesn't get as such an advantage because really they're on the better strategy, but it's allowing Heischler to break away nicely. It's allowing Samaxon to break away with that time penalty as well and make it not so effective. But also it's allowing Samaxon, who's got the most advantageous strategy, to have an even better advantage. Lap 10 out of 36. Would we see some drivers do two stops? That's something that we've seen be a kind of a possibility or a rumour in this game, but it's not been so looked at. Jericho Willis now on the faster tyre at this stage of the race, it seems. Catches up to Nifo. Nifo now 2.2 seconds away from the cars in front. That DRS training that they were able to perform really did give an advantage. Nifo not going to be happy with that one, but they still have a race to race. And they've got to do what they can. But they've got some cars up ahead who are very feisty with one another at this stage. It's DRS, it's ERS, but it's no move yet. It's just trying to catch up a little bit from the dirty air loss. That's Heischler into the pit lane for the first time, as it's also Terence who actually pitted on the last lap. So a few calls being made. That was Jacques Lever as well on the same lap as Terence. It's the outside line here for Dave Raptors, who's trying to force a defensive throw. A terrible line for Charlie. Oh, I thought they were looking at the switchback, but they didn't. They then tried to stick their nose along the outside line. They're now close, but they don't get the run. They backed off. Are they going to go to the inside? They're not going to try and dive it down. They will stay where they are for now. Oh, I thought they were going to try and sneak it to the right-hand side. That could have been a good opportunity, but they will still let it be and allow Charlie to lead the way through this part of the circuit. With Heischler making that pit stop, though, it could be that some more medium tyre runners do the same thing, and they will. It is going to be a pit stop here for Charlie. Dave Raptor's going to have to watch out for that one as they do go through the corner side by side. That is Charlie into the pit lane. It is now Jericho Willis released, and now up to P3 for the time being. Not a net P3, but P3 at the moment. That could have been a corner cut there from Davies. So watch out, for those corner cuts and time penalties that they could receive. But if it wasn't a corner cut, then they just did a very good job. It's Jericho Willis and Nifayan side by side up into turn 3. It's now looking to try and get a better exit and DRS, but a little bit of oversteer isn't going to help when you've got those worn tyres. Still no one looking for the two-stop strategy at this stage of the Grand Prix, but it's 9 seconds advantage to the next hard tyre runner there for Samaxon, but it is Davies who goes straight into the pit lane. No time penalty for the Brit. It's going to be that medium tyre as standard. It seems to be a lot of drivers are still trying to do this one-stop strategy though. I thought there'd be some concerns for something in this race. We could see some soft tyres at the very end. That would be possible, but I'm not sure. I didn't think it'd be very likely. One lap overcut undercut for Charlie has been a massive 1.7 seconds. But that arguably faster tyre at this stage of the Grand Prix is for Dave Raptors, and they'll be able to catch up quite quickly once those tyres have got up to temperature. Is it the right call to go this early though? Jack Lever and Terence fighting for position. DRS available once again for Jack, as they've planned it out very, very nicely. They're able to save the battery as they go into turn 4 as well. That is now pit stops for Nifo. That promotes Heischler up to P3. And we'll look at the gap to the leader, shall we? So we'll see 17 seconds between Heischler and Samaxon. Samaxon really looking for something a bit different here. Actually, I don't think they're looking for anything different at all. They're just doing what they should be doing. And I think Davies has just gone very early into the pit lane. Nifo followed on a little bit after, but on that hard tyre as well now. So it's really interesting to see how this one's going. They've gone a lot later than some other cars, but they're going to have a huge advantage on tyre life towards the end of this Grand Prix. And yeah, Jericho Willis and Samaxon on the same strategy as Davies, but possibly looking for some very different outcomes. That is fastest lap there, being set, I think, was it by, yeah, Heischler. Those tyres definitely look a struggle now. There's Davies, as expected, on that tyre, on that medium tyre, catching up nicely, putting in the purple laps. Not using ERS just yet, but catching up with the DRS. On the exit of 3, it will be their time to shine. The traction should be mega from the Mercedes, as you can see. Oh wow, absolutely incredible. DRS, ERS available. The straight line speed is going to still be a challenge. Into the corner, turn 4 is their way round the outside. This time it's going to be a lot easier, and they do make the job work. Brilliant stuff there. Charlie gave it everything they could, but it's now just a little bit too late. And with Dirty Air, they got a bit of a bite in the dust as well. I don't know what phrases I'm using. I don't know if they're even real, but yeah, that was a tough one there for Charlie with the Dirty Air, as they just experienced it for the first time after doing a brilliant job at defending from the Mercedes. That's another track extension there for Davies, who is going to be in trouble if they're not careful from the game, but they do go purple in the meantime. Is Charlie going to try and make that overtake again? Well, if they can hold on to the DRS, I don't see why you would try and re-overtake, because you have got the fastest car on track right now, pulling you along and into this race. It's Samaxon who is now here. We've got the two switching, and Jericho Willis stays out on track, and Heischler allows his teammate to go through. So are they trying to play the ultimate team game here? They know that they've not got the best equipment compared to what they used to, so they're trying to do something a little bit to help their teammate. Well, I don't know, but Jericho Willis wasn't exactly doing bad in this race, so they are throwing away a lot of points right here for the Teams Championship, just to try and help out the drivers. That's Sir Maxon in P3, 5 seconds ahead of Davies, still, after losing that. So they lost about 5 seconds relative to everybody, if you take that from the timings. Davies still stays ahead of Charlie. Charlie just holding on to that DRS, but it's Samaxon who is going to be very, very quick. And they are a couple of seconds back now. DRS still available for Jericho as they're being towed along. Penalty-wise, 3 seconds for both Samaxon, Charlie, Igor, and Terence. It's 6 seconds for Jack Lever. Now 1.2 seconds, Samaxon's gaining massively. And I don't know if Heischler's going slow to bring Jericho with them, if it's an attempt to try and have a DRS-trained defense system. But I really do think that 16 lap-old tyres, whether they've got DRS or not, a fresh set of medium tyres is going to have the upper hand. As you can see, sliding through the corner is Jericho Willis. Oh, on the exit, it's going to be an easy move. It's going to be an easy move. absolutely straightforward, no questions asked. And on the exit, look at the time that they'll gain as well. Traction is theirs. Absolutely insane. A tenth, maybe even two. Brilliant stuff there from Samaxon, who would have used some energy to catch up to Heischler and was really making a statement. They're going to have the traction as well, but I don't think they got it quite down well enough. They're still going to look for the attack. No, they back off. You can see that they were willing to do it, but just weren't really in a position technically to make it work successfully. It was a good effort, but just having to stay behind now. Heischler's got a lot to think about. And once again, I do wonder if Heischler's trying to keep Jericho with them for a while or not, but right now, Samaxon has got what I expect to be a one-way ticket past Heischler. It's just whether they can have a one-way ticket out of the time penalty range. DRS available. The traction is of plentiful. It's the inside line for the Polish driver, and it's going to be the advantage on the exit as well. Locking up the rears slightly, really trying to get those tyres used up to the maximum to get this move done. DRS available for Heischler, but ERS is still possible to be used from Samaxon, as Heischler had to use all of their battery to defend. It didn't work out. It was never going to work out. It's a fresh medium tyre. You're just going to have to let them go. And that is how it goes. That is Samaxon ahead. And now they try and make their work. Samaxon not having confidence going into this race, but currently leading the Grand Prix. They've got a bit more to do with that time penalty. Still a long way in this Grand Prix. Not only for them to make that gap, but also for Heischler to possibly get a penalty. So Heischler's got to keep good as gold. If they can do, then they could be golden, because that tyre, that medium tyre, is going to get old towards the end. Samaxon did give themselves the best chance of going as long as possible, but it could be in a spot of trouble a little bit later on. We've got Davies, who's got Charlie now ahead of them, so that pace has definitely switched once again for the tyres. And that's the disadvantage of going so early, and that is actually something that Samaxon's going to be looking at. That being said, Samaxon was holding out for the lead earlier on for a long time, so maybe can defy something with the tyres here. It's Davies who forces Charlie to go defensive, looks for the switchback, doesn't quite pull it off, does have the inside line, but isn't along the sides to take it. They'll stay behind for a minute. A couple of seconds back is Niffer. They've got pressure from behind with Eager Pro, the race winner from the last full season here in Austria. Actually, race one of the season as well. The race one and Austria does usually go quite well. It's going to be Jericho into the pit lane. It's going to be Jack Lever. Unfortunately, down the order. No, it's not. It's Dave. No, it is Jack Lever. I don't know why it skipped past him there. I just didn't see it. That is going to be the pit lane for the Brit, unfortunately, and an unscheduled stop there for them. Samaxon leads the way on lap 21 out of 36. It's Heischler who's still within DRS range. Charlie 11.8 seconds, and it's Davies who is still pestering them in this race. That's DRS range lost by Heischler. And now they've got to try and do something to get it back. It's Jericho Willis who jumps ahead. But as we're going to go quickly away, we're going to leave you with this battle. We'll be back in a sec. The Fiat stays ahead of Eager Pro. As we are now, lap 22 out of 36, it's still Samaxon leading the way, but it's almost the 3-second margin. And just to add, Heichler has got the 3 seconds as well. So now, not only has Samaxon pushed with that strategy to try and make it work, they've now got all of a sudden a 2.7 second lead. And they're still going to try and make it 3 seconds, I would assume so. Just for why not. Charlie still losing time relative to the cars ahead of them, but again, they've still got pressure from behind, so they have to put some focus on that. And as this is happening, Nifo has been making good progress. 2.6 seconds now from the 4 seconds earlier on. They've got Igor for company, but they seem to be working quite well together. This battle, however, not so much. Once again, a defensive throw from Charlie. The outside line and a slip around the corner to try and use these tyres as they've got less grip. And he's still not happy with what Charlie's doing. Absolutely outrageous, he's saying. Not happy with that one at all. But Charlie still holds on ahead position-wise. P3 for the Polish driver. Doing a good job to stay in front right now, but they've got to make sure that they're careful. They've actually got that time penalty, of course. That's Heichler going for the second stop here, as we thought, but onto the hards it is for the Dutchman. So that's interesting. Did they mean that, or did they mean to go onto a set of mediums? Well, the mediums only seem to really be lasting about 7 laps. And then they seem to drop off. I do believe that Samaxon's hoping to get to the end of this Grand Prix. So either Heichler's just thrown a lot away, as they definitely have to work hard to try and re-overtake a lot of cars, or they're going to win this race comfortably if no one reacts. That's the difficulty of this situation right now. Nifo and Eager Pro in the middle of catching the cars in front. If they have Heichler with them, this battle could get very spicy. And I don't know what's going to happen. It's Dave Raptors who also dives into the pit lane and will make this call. Now, to any driver that was going to try and attempt the one stop, they've got a bit of peace of mind showing that other cars are also doing the 2 stop, and that is Eager Pro reacting to that. That's why Jack Lever was pitting early, maybe struggling with the tyres. They've now done their 2 stops, and they're coming to the end of the Grand Prix with these hards. Eager Pro on the fresh mediums, as well as Davies, 3.4 seconds away from each other. Are we going to see Terence defend hard from Davies, or are they going to allow them to go through and focus on their own race instead? Jericho Willis, 8 seconds back from their teammate on the medium tyre. Probably still looking to go to the end of the Grand Prix on this tyre, actually, because they went so long on the other tyre. That's Nifo into the pit lane, following Charlie, who's just up ahead of them, almost going into the back of them, as they went very quickly into the pit lane, gaining every little bit of time they can. And there they are into the pit. Medium tyre will be the choice, as expected. Heichler not quite going on the more straightforward tyre. All of a sudden, Samaxon's strategy doesn't look quite so good, does it? It's a little bit more complicated. They did start on the hard, so they can go on to a second set of mediums if they have them available. Nifo sits right behind Charlie, not in a position to make the move though. They do have to be careful though, because they've got to try and warm up their tyres. They don't want to be making any overtakes with cold tyres and crashing into anyone if they make any misjudgments. But they've also got a car in the mix just ahead of them that could make it difficult. That lap advantage that Davies has just got as well, without a time penalty, is huge. That's a brilliant strategy call from Davies, who might find themselves on the podium if they can get this one to work. And that is going to be the outside line there for Charlie, already making that move. Terence lets them go, but doesn't let Nifoyan go for it. And Nifo's going to be sat right behind, absolutely furious with what's just happened. Spent all of that time catching all the way up to Charlie, and then end up just getting blocked in the final corner. And now they're going to have to do it all again. DRS not available for the Dutchman. And now Igapro is going to get probably an easy pass as well. Incredibly frustrated Nifo will be right there. But they definitely seem to have some good pace, and they can bring it back as long as they don't let it trouble them too much. Davies ahead, having the high ground of everyone right now. Really, Nifo needs to focus not on Charlie, but on Davies. Igapro gets a time penalty as they sit behind their teammate in the dirty air. Terence doesn't seem to be willing to let their teammate go either, so Terence not really working with anyone, and sat on the apex very slow through the corner. Igapro wasn't ready for it, and unfortunately the two teammates collide, and I could see that one happening from miles away. That is such a shame to see. That's damage on Igapro, who doesn't go into the pit lane, who stays out for now. Still likely to be quicker than Terence at this stage on the fresh mediums relative to incredibly old hard tyres. And yeah, there's going to be some questions of that one, that's for sure. That's Nifo who goes fastest. Still doesn't catch up to the cars ahead though. So Charlie doing a good job to still keep the fastest car out of their DRS range. No fastest lap point in this game, so it is all about just pace. And right now the fastest lap is a tenth quicker than Charlie's fastest lap. So Maxon has lost the lead to the new race leader, Heischler, 7 tenths behind at the moment. But it's Maxon who went into the pit lane, that's why they lost the lead. They come out comfortably ahead of Jericho Willis and comfortably ahead of the rest of the field. And now they've got these fresh tyres to take them to the end of the Grand Prix, and probably very comfortably. They don't go for the dive bomb. Will they go for something on the traction here into the middle sector though? Nope, they're going to wait for the DRS. It'll be much safer. Much, much safer. Not worth the risk. And also, if you get ahead on the DRS and have such an advantage, they can't re-overtake you. Not in F125 at least. Just waiting behind, making sure that Heischel knows that they're there, getting ready to go for it, and then DRS available, catching up a little bit, saving a bit more battery with this DRS, cancelling it out. You can see Heischel trying to save the battery throughout the corner, but then they also lose a bit of performance by not quite using the battery so early on, unless you really modulate the throttle well. But the inside line here for the pole, and braking as late as they can to make sure that they're fully ahead. Even though the switchback is going to be attempted from Heischler, the traction is not going to be there. The battery isn't quite there, but they are still going to be able to get to the inside line. The grip will not be around the outside for Heischler compared to what it will be for Maxon. But the inside line is still there. The inside line is not going to be possible for Maxon. That is a brilliant defence there from Heischler. Incredible. And they know that they can afford to fight at this stage of the race because Davies is 15 seconds away. So Maxon has no way around. They can't go, you know what, I'm going to try and wiggle to get Heischler to let me go through because there's a car catching us. No, no, no. It's not going to be that way. And with those tyres dropping off earlier than previous games, Heischel knows what he's doing. DRS available, a bit more of a clearer run. It did look like it, but not into the apex of the corner. On the exit, Maxon will still have the advantage. Who got the DRS under braking? It's Heichler. Heichler's got it again. Will they have the ERS, though, to fight it? No, they will not. Would you believe it? DRS available once again for Heichler, but no move is going to happen. And now Maxon has got a middle sector to try and break away. Dirty air for Heichler, but also hard tyres. The chances are they'll still be able to hold on to DRS range, but they're not going to be in a position to make any overtakes. 7/10. It's going to go probably to 8 as we go through these corners. It didn't. It closed up a bit, and it will close up again with DRS. For the Dutchman, this is a race that's going to go all the way to the final lap, I think. Davies having a brilliant race, but got pressure behind it. Looks like they could end up getting pressure behind at least. We've got Jericho Willis, who's trying to hold on to these 10-lap old medium tyres. They are going to try and take it to the end of the Grand Prix. They're P4. They have a time penalty. Lots of cars have time penalties. It's Charlie with 6 seconds. 2 time penalties to their name. Oh, and it's Niffo. I was just going to say, doesn't have one, but now they do. Still would be able to get ahead of Charlie, but now will not have the advantage over Jericho Willis. Will not have a look at P4. 12 seconds for Eager Pro, 6 seconds for Terence, and 9 for Jack Lever. It's a tricky one. It's going to be a defensive throw, but it's not going to work. It's Jericho Willis who's ahead of Ethan Davies. Charlie almost had a look, but a brilliant move there from the American champion. These two, both champions in the same tier at different times, both for McLaren as well. It's not going to work out for Davies this time, as Jericho makes the move on the older tyres. With the time penalty, they're trying to fight their own race. They're trying to stay ahead of the other time penalty runners, and they can work together with Davies as well as they want. Davies got to be relaxed. They've got to make sure that they don't get any track limits in this race. If they do that, then they score a lot of points. They score a P3 position. Heichler and Maxon still close to one another. Davies is going to go for the move here into the braking zone. Defensive still from Jericho Willis, and on the attack it's going to be Charlie and Niffo, who's going to have the inside line. They're squirming to try and get everything, desperate on the throttle. It's going to be the inside line, and I don't think Jericho can do anything about it. The American will not have the advantage. The switchback will be nowhere, and that is a brilliant move there from Niffo to spot that opportunity and be there when it counts. But Charlie slow on the apex, as we saw earlier with Terence and Igor, and they almost went into the back. Equal tyres though, so just a very different standpoint on the corner, and that was a close one. No damage for now, and they've got to try and play it cool. We've only got a couple of more laps of this race remaining, and with that fighting, more time has been gained by Heichler and Maxon, who are still close together right now. Hard tyres, one hard tyres versus mediums that are going to get to the end of their peak performance by the end of this Grand Prix. Has Maxon been looking after their tyres? They've got to the clean air. That's where you want to be if you do really want to save your tyres. Clean air should be advantageous. You have less temperature put into them, and therefore better tyres. That is the final corner there, Jacques Lever into the barrier, but it's not going to be a safety car or anything because it's the final couple of laps of this Grand Prix. It'd be silly for the game to deploy it. It's Maxon who leads on the penultimate lap of the race. It's Heichler who is in the hunt to try and take the first victory of F125 and the championship lead in the Friday tier for the 4th summer season in LSI. Oh, a big wide moment there for Heichler, still staying on track, but losing a lot of time. 7/10, almost 8/10. DRS will bring it back a little bit, but that's not what you want to be doing on the final couple of laps, where you need to be dead close to the car in front. Oh, and a big mistake as well. It's really getting to him. further behind. Absolute chaos. Traffic jam into 3. It's Jericho Willis who watches ahead as the cars are just standing still. And it's Niffo and Jericho Willis. They're going to be the ones who need to really work this one out. I'm not entirely sure what Charlie's fighting for unless they're looking to try and get a few time penalties removed. They don't need to really do anything about this at the moment. It's only making the other cars' lives difficult. It's Ethan Davies who has no time penalties, the only driver to have no time penalties, and they've got no risks to be taken. It's Niffo who's trying to stay ahead of Jericho Willis, and Charlie's just in the mix at this point. It's going to be, though, Heischler to the outside line for the race win against Samaxon. A straight-up fight, equal time penalties, a drag race to 4, tucking into the slipstream. The outside line is going to be forced by Samaxon. Samaxon doesn't want to see it to the inside, but they will be on the inside. The switchback is available. Will they get there? No! A brilliant exit is going to work out for Samaxon, and the champion of Season 14 is going to start F1 25 surely with victory. Dirty air in the next few corners is not going to make it any easier for Heischler. No battery and still to spare for Samaxon. A brilliant race for the champion. They continue. They win the Austrian Grand Prix. It's Heischler with a brilliant battle for P2. But it's Davies who on return is looking at a podium. It's Charlie who gets ahead of Niffo. Niffo will stay ahead of Jericho Willis, and everyone will finish as expected. This man, really well done, and it's good to see you. It is good to see you. Dave Raptors to P3, Charlie P4, but they'll be demoted as Niffo goes to P4. Then it's Jericho Willis, Charlie P6. Eager Pro, after getting damaged, stays out on track and has a P7, not the race they wanted. And Terence jumping in last minute. They are in P8. What a race we've just had. What a race indeed. Battles all the way up and down the grid. Samaxon not expecting to take victory, but they've done it. Absolutely incredible. A fight all the way to the end. A strategy extravaganza we had as well. That's absolutely incredible, and I love F1 25 because of that. Wow, what a race. You don't know what's going to happen until the final couple of laps, and this is why this guy gave it everything they could. But it's Samaxon on top once again. Their name continues to lead the way. Fastest lap for Niffo in the end. Race winner Samaxon. Driver of the day for Heischler, and it's Jericho Willis for most overtakes. That is the result. Samaxon takes victory. It's Heischler in P2, then Davies in P3 on return. Niffo, Willis, Charlie, Igapro, Terence, and DNFing earlier on, but still class as finish and scoring points. It's Jack Lever in P9. We're going to get the results and then go through the race director, just in case. And then we'll head off to the post-race interviews, of course, as we always do. Brilliant stuff here today for the Friday tier. And that's all done. We'll be back in a bit. We'll see you then. Sorry. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews for the first time in F1 25. That was a pretty crazy Austrian Grand Prix. We start with Nifo. Nifo, it was all a bit up and down. A brilliant end to qualifying put you right in the mix. A few issues in the race, but you definitely had some good pace. I think you ended up the fastest car on track in the end.
Yeah, I mean, quality. When I started raining, I was already like, well, I just gotta try to be as high up there as I can because it's gonna be horrible. But it was fine. I had a good start, and then I think it went fine up until I did the second to last corner, and I just had the biggest drift of my life. I don't know how I saved it, but I'm happy I did. I still don't. I've looked back at it. I still don't know how I lost it because I think I've done the same thing I've done every other lap, which is downshift and lift, but the whole car just lost. Yeah, and then I had just a big gap, and I decided with my big head, you know what, I'm gonna try a one stop, which in the which I soon realized was not possible. Which made me, well, I wasn't offset, but like it was really horrible. But I mean, I caught up to Charlie and the Mercedes in the end. I think because they were fighting, or maybe my tire wear, those two laps on the hards were my savior. And then, yeah, last in, I was just trying to push as hard as I could, not get a time penalty. What did little Nifo do? Get a time penalty, so that was great. But yeah, I think P4 was fine in the end. I didn't have the pace, and I really threw my race away when I tried when I decided to do the one stop in the end. So yeah, a lot to learn, but I had fun, so it's good.
I hate to ask the question, but if you didn't have that mistake at the penultimate corner, do you think you maybe would have had a chance at victory?
No, I would have been closer, sure, but I didn't have the pace. I mean, I don't know why the guys up ahead lost the DRS. Like I felt like they were keeping on pretty well, and then there was just a massive gap in the end. So maybe if that gap wasn't lost, there was a chance. But I don't know. For now, I'll say no, just because the pace wasn't there.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Nifo. The next race, Monza, whether you're there or not, how do you like that circuit, and how do you think it's going to be with the dirty air model, straight line speed below?
I think Ascari is going to be interesting. I'll try to not go sideways there this time. I think it's always chaos, which I find fun, so it'll be fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I can't wait. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, it was a brilliant pole position, but unfortunately later on it just didn't quite work out. What happened?
Basically, too low wings. I was running like 17-12 compared to other guys who were running
and
like
still pole
high
position
20s.
in the wet.
High 20s, low. I don't know how. Okay, don't ask me. Yeah, like I just had no performance in the corners. So yeah, I just lost the DRS pretty quickly, and yeah, then I just had to, I don't know, fight for lower positions. I gained some track warnings, penalties as well, because like, yeah, I cannot turn understeer, then just like off tracks, and yeah, basically that's it.
Fair enough. So you know what went wrong going into Monza.
Yeah,
do you think you have the confidence to try and take some victories, and also throughout the season?
Maybe. You cannot go too low on the wings on Monza, luckily, I think. I hope.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what my pace is on Monza yet, so we'll see.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you very much. Brilliant pole position, and yeah, I'm sure see you at the top very, very soon. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And we move on to Ethan Davies. Great to see you back, first of all. Welcome back. Brilliant race as well from... I want to look at the qualifying positions now. So you actually qualified P4, which is pretty good. Dropped down a little bit, but then making it all the way back up to a podium position. No penalties, the only driver to do it. Are you happy with that result?
For an opening race in terms of a league race style, definitely very happy with P3. I took a big break with F124 just because I didn't like the handling too much, and I focused on other games. So coming back into F125, it's been a pretty steep learning curve to get back used to kind of the handling, because it's still not perfect and it still has that kind of F124 feel, but it's definitely better than last game, and I'm definitely enjoying it a lot more. Of course, I'm very happy with the result. I mean, qualifying in wet conditions, first time kind of I've properly driven in the wet in the equal cars. So P4 was really good. It was quite interesting to see which tyres were the best throughout the session, because I think it was on wets for half of it, then inters right at the end, and it was kind of all over the place. And then the race I was kind of just trying to keep it clean for as long as I could. I mean, I got 2 warnings in the first 2 laps, so I was really on edge throughout the entire race, making sure I didn't get a warning, because I knew that people were going to get warnings, especially in the early stages of the game. Just getting used to everything, I thought I'd just try and keep it as safe as I could. I did think there was possibly more on the cards. I think if I had a bit more straight line speed than Charlie, I could have got past him, but because he had such good straight line speed, it was difficult to get past, and that caused us kind of to lose DRS in the end. But I think, to be honest, in terms of pace, I think this is the maximum I could have done today. And I'm really just it was great. It was a great race, and it was good to be back here racing in LSI.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, we could see that it was pretty difficult to get past Charlie, but you gave it a brilliant race, a brilliant effort to Mawson Racing, and we are very glad to welcome back the former F1.5 champion. So thank you very much for racing. Good to see you. Monza, but also good luck tomorrow if you're racing then. Monza, that's going to be a very different story to Austria. Although there's still some pretty good straights, the wings are completely different. Are you looking forward to that one?
Notoriously, Monza is quite a nice track for me. And I think it's all about kind of a strategy game in terms of when to burn, when to overtake people, when to just follow in trains. I think it's been really interesting on this year's game though, with the amount of that we get. And I think that's going to possibly cause it to be a little bit more difficult. It definitely caused it to be a little more difficult through Sector 2 today, Sector 2 and 3. So I think it's going to be a really interesting race, and I'll definitely try and make it for that one.
Awesome. Can't wait. Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much. See you later, guys.
And we move on to Heischler. That was a brilliant effort, I have to say. Really well done. Didn't quite work out. Now, do you think the strategy call to go onto that hard at the end was the right one?
I mean, you make that choice already when you choose balanced or standard allocation. So, or balanced or harder allocation, I should say.
Yeah.
So, before quali, I already thought I would do that because I thought the mediums were not that great. They fall off quite quickly. Just like a little bit like last game where the mediums weren't ideal in the race as well. Just quickly in between, I didn't know that Dave or Ethan Davies was Dave Raptor, so welcome back to him. Great to see him back as well. But yeah, I think it still was the best strategy to go on. It was more due to my setup. It had great overall performance. I think I hit the sweet spot with nearly everything in the setup except for 2 parameters. So yeah, I just didn't have any balance in the braking when the wear came up. So I need to fix that for the next Austria race I will do. But yeah, I think I actually was the quickest on track. I think I should have won it if I didn't have that penalty. So it's a great race to have. I didn't really have a good race yet on this game, but I knew this game really suits me. So I needed this, and I think I can win a lot of races this game, even more than last game.
Yeah, I think you had, was it your first Grand Prix victory at Monza? Do you think you can find some good confidence there even in the new game?
I don't know if I race there, race next week. I will have to see. But I don't really like the track, even though I won my first actual league race there. Yeah, it's just I don't think the dirty air will be that bad around the track, just because you have such long straights, so it makes up for it. So if you just manage in the what's it called, is it the Lesmos?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Lesmos. If you manage it in the Lesmos and Ascari and the last corner, you will be definitely fine. But I feel like it does translate like into not really that strong slipstream. So you just have to stay with DRS, and if you stay with DRS, you'll probably be fine the whole race, and it will be more due to strategy, sadly, than actual battling, I think.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, we didn't get much strategy in the last couple of games, so we got to try and take it while we can. Thank you
I
very
love
much.
this race.
Yeah,
I love this race on strategy.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed it as well. Thank you very much, Heisler. Really good effort today. Thank you for the great battling, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Samaxon. Well, not too much confidence going into the race, but I'm sure you're very confident as you leave it. Absolutely incredible stuff. A brilliant amount of race pace in that race, really, as well. Do you think that strategy was optimal? You went pretty long with a fair few tyres.
I mean, I just knew that I have enough pace to catch up to Heish, so why not go longer on one set of tires and also the second set of tires to just have the last set to be like the best tire from this race. I mean, coming to the race after getting P2 quali, I wasn't really sure about the pace. Was trying to stay clean the first few laps, had that little contact with Heish on lap 3. And then I don't know. I think I just got pace. Like the car. In a moment, I went into that flying stage. So basically, I was conserving the tires and just having good enough pace to keep being the lead and then extending to I think 3 seconds. Got that unfortunate penalty because on the start, a little bit too much pushing on track limits. I didn't do any race preparation before this, so wasn't sure about the grip and had to test how it will be the corners, but felt good. And it's great to have the win.
Yeah, it is brilliant to see you do that, and with the way you did it as well, all the way to the end. Absolutely brilliant battling, and you played it to perfection. So continuing the success streak yourself, of course. Monza is the next one. Do you think you can do well there?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what track suits me on this game. Just don't know. After this race, after the last races, I need to fix my setup issue and my setup problem to actually doing them.
Yeah.
So that's a thing to fix, and maybe some more wins in the future. We will see.
Yeah, we will see for sure. I do want to quickly ask one question until we end. Did you consider doing a one-stop?
No,
Fair enough.
I think I've pitted from hards on 60%.
I see, okay. Fair enough. Well, thank you very much. Once again, really, really good effort, really good battling, and I can't wait to see you race again. We'll see you next time. Well done.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. We will see you tomorrow for the Saturday tier. We'll see you next weekend for the Italian Grand Prix. I can't wait for that one. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.